Start the 2018 commencement exercises of New York University, Abu Dhabi. A reminder to set your mobile phones to silent mode throughout the duration of the ceremony. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome New York University Abu Dhabi's 2018 Color Guard. Please welcome New York University Abu Dhabi's 2018 graduating class, led by the student banner bearer. Please welcome members of the New York University Abu Dhabi Cabinet and the New York University Abu Dhabi Campus Life Leadership Team. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the faculty of New York University Abu Dhabi. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome distinguished members of the Platform Party, led by the Abu Dhabi Police Band. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the national anthems of the United Arab Emirates and the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, the Provost of New York University, Abu Dhabi, Fabio Piano.
Ramadan Kareem, here now, in the presence of candidates for academic recognition, Your Highnesses, Excellencies, members of the faculty and administration, alumni, trustees, honor guests, and friends of NYU Abu Dhabi, the 2018 commencement is hereby convened.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Maitha Al Memari, member of the class of 2018.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. زملائي الخريجين، الحضور الكرام، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أحييكم وأرحب بكم بكل فخر واعتزاز في حفل تخريج جامعة نيويورك أبو ظبي. Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, honored guests, class of 2018, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to the 5th commencement exercises of New York University Abu Dhabi. To the class of 2018, 4 years ago, each one of us decided to accept this offer to come to a campus we have only observed from across the bridge. Each one of us was adventurous, curious, and motivated to take a chance on Saadiyat, come to an island where there was almost nothing and create a community out of it. A community that we later called the Saadiyat bubble. A bubble that the student body filled with ambition, passion, and street cats. A student body that is always hungry, not just because it's Ramadan, but because NYUAD students have no limits, always hungry for the better and never satisfied. As we're about to graduate, we faced many uncertainties. However, uncertainty is another word for opportunity. Just as we all seized the opportunity to come to NYUAD, I want each one of us to embrace the path that lies ahead and not be afraid of venturing into the unknown. This is our time to be risk takers and seek out what excites us. To the class of 2018, I want to encourage you to use the same spirit that you have lit NYUAD with when you venture into your next adventure. To the NYUAD community, the plethora of achievements of this class would not have been possible without the help, support, and guidance of our faculty and staff. To our mentors, I say, our success is your success, for you have given us the courage to dare, the knowledge to excel, and the belief that we can succeed. You have been there for us with encouragement and care. You have had faith when we've doubted ourselves. You have instilled in us the self-confidence needed to reach our goals. For all these things, we, the class of 2018, thank every single one of you. To the families, we are the result of your long years of love, laughter, and lessons. You stood by us and supported us, even when we were miles away. If it wasn't for your constant encouragement, we would have never been able to survive the past 4 years. Thank you for making us the people we are today. To the UAE, my home country, a country small in size but immense in heart. On behalf of the class of 2018, I want to thank the UAE and its visionary leadership for investing in us and trusting us with the responsibility to take what we have learned and change the world for the better. إن رصيد أي أمة متقدمة هو أبناؤها المتعلمون، وأن تقدم الشعوب والأمم إنما يقاس بمستوى التعليم وانتشاره. من أقوال والدنا الشيخ زايد آل نهيان رحمه الله. كلمات قادتنا ستبقى دائماً مصدر إلهامنا ومنبع فخرنا. نحن عيال زايد من خريجين جامعة نيويورك أبو ظبي نسعد اليوم بوقوفنا أمامكم، وقد تسلحنا بالعلم لنكون مستعدين لنبدأ رحلة جديدة نرد فيها ولو جزء بسيط من جميل وطننا الغالي الإمارات، ونكون محل فخر وثقة قيادتنا الحكيمة. ونحن محظوظون بأننا نتخرج في عام زايد، ونزداد فخراً بأننا نتخرج في شهر رمضان المبارك. شكراً. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the chairman of New York University Board of Trustees, William Robert Berkeley.
Good evening. I'm so pleased to be here. It's a rare board chairman that gets to preside over 3 commencements in 3 countries on 3 continents, 1 in New York, 1 in Abu Dhabi, and in a few days, there'll be a 3rd one in Shanghai. I'm fully appreciating and experiencing the joys and the jet lag that comes from being a part of a truly global university. The Board of Trustees and I have watched the growth of NYU Abu Dhabi. over the past 8 years with great pride. Your achievements are nothing short of remarkable. From highly competitive admissions to new research frontiers to prestigious student awards to innovative curriculum designed for the 21st century. These accomplishments would not have been possible without the talent and hard work of world-class faculty and administrators. Nor would they be possible without the ongoing support that comes from our incredible partners, the government of Abu Dhabi, who had the foresight to make a bet on the youth of their country and the world to make everything a better place. I'm an alumnus of NYU. I graduated over 50 years ago. Today, you're about to become NYU alumni. You will join a community of over 500,000 fellow NYU graduates around the world. I hope that being a part of this unique and dynamic university will bring you as much joy and gratification as it has brought me. To all the class of 2018, the very best wishes and my warmest congratulations. You are terrific. Thank you.
We now present a special tribute to the class of 2018, a commencement video featuring our graduating students.
The person that I was in high school, if you tell me I was going to do all of the things that I've, done and accomplished during my years here, I would have laughed. I wouldn't have believed it.
It's been just a beautiful ride.
It's been a really wholesome experience.
Life-changing.
It actually exceeded my expectations.
Every day, it's like a new discovery.
There's so much going on. There's so much to look forward to.
I'm like, yeah, you know what? It's a bit too good to be true, but it is true. It has happened.
It feels unreal to be graduating.
I'm excited.
Oh my gosh, I think excited and nervous at the same time.
I've made it. I'm so proud of myself.
I feel like I just got here as a freshman the other day.
After this, I don't know the next time I'll see so many of my friends and classmates and professors, but it's exciting to take everything that I've learned here at NYUAD and apply that into the world.
This school is indescribable, but it has so many ways to be described.
It's such an adventurous school.
To me, it's a new home at home.
This has been a place which has pushed my boundaries to learn more, to ask more questions, to be more curious about the world.
NYU Abu Dhabi is really almost like a utopia of what the ideal future could be like. People from so many different places with so many different cultures and ideologies come together and debate and engage in critical dialogue and also fun dialogue sometimes.
We're a fun bunch of people.
I'd say the class of 2018 is united, it's a family.
Weird in the best of ways.
We're insane. We're crazy. Very spontaneous.
Open to the world.
Very brave.
Hardworking, studious,
ambitious,
reflective, and mature.
Everyone kind of thinks in a different way.
There's so many different personalities, and I think that's one thing that brings us all together is we're so hardworking. Everyone has their different projects going on, their different passions.
I've met so many people from around the world. I've taken classes with professors from around the world.
The academic experience has been so unique.
It's definitely a lot of hard work.
It's so broad. We have so many things to choose from, so many different classes with amazing professors.
I learned how to weld metal. I learned how to play the flute.
All of the small parts combined from each of the classes that allows you to think about how we could solve problems more critically.
Part of the education that we get is about exploration.
Just exploring such beautiful, wonderful opportunities and places.
Being able to travel to all these different places and then also come back to Abu Dhabi in between. You just start to make connections that are holistic and multicultural and multidisciplinary. And having had this 4 years of experience here, we're going into the world as global leaders and really change makers.
I think I would be very proud to be an alumni of the school, and I think when I go to job interviews, I will mention that I went to NYU Abu Dhabi and mention that it was in the United Arab Emirates, and I'm very proud of that because this country has hosted us in such a way that I don't think anywhere else I would be able to find the same type of hospitality.
What I love about this city is that it has that feeling of change all the time. You really never know what the city will be the next day, but there's always more to explore and there's always more to see.
Being in Abu Dhabi at a time when the Louvre Abu Dhabi was opening, when we are actually bringing people from all over the world to this country, to the city, which is becoming a cultural capital, that has been a really powerful experience to witness.
What drew me to this campus was that people were like, you know, you're not just going to be studying, you're going to be applying these things, you're going to be engaged in the local community.
We're learning so much about this community that most of us wouldn't have if we weren't based here.
NYU Abu Dhabi acts as a bridge in some ways. It brings in people from all around the world, some who choose to stay here, some who gain a lot from here and go on back into the world and do amazing things.
Just talking to different people, different professors, being exposed to different ideas and allowing myself to open up made me actually grow as a person.
It made me open to experiencing new things. That's definitely something. It's stepping out of my comfort zone.
It changed a lot of my perspective in terms of how I deal with people. It changed a lot.
I would say that I've definitely become a lot more confident in my sense of self.
I've figured out who I am, and I figured out what I want to do after I graduate, what my passions are, what my dreams are.
I've grown so much here for the past 4 years, and now I feel like I'm ready.
Being at NYU Abu Dhabi has prepared me so well for what's to come, and I'm excited to just put that into practice.
I think leaving here, I'll be able to walk into a room and know that I'm different and that that's what makes me powerful. And that's what's going to help me enact change, which the world needs.
I'm excited. I'm going to be joining the Rhodes Scholars at Oxford, inshallah.
I'm moving to Singapore to pursue the Dean's Fellowship in Yale and US.
I'll be joining the Global Markets Division at HSBC in Hong Kong.
So I'll be joining a consultancy in San Francisco, Alpha Sites.
Next year, I'll be working at Google as a software engineer in California.
After graduation, I'll be headed to Juilliard School of Drama to do an MFA in acting.
I'm going to be working in Washington, D.C., and then pursuing a Fulbright teaching grant in Malaysia.
I'd like to thank NYU Abu Dhabi for the family that I gained here. I'd like to thank my family.
Thank you, Mom and Dad. I want to thank my peers, my professors, definitely my coaches and my teammates.
I would like to thank the staff at NYU Abu Dhabi.
Thank you for feeding us, for making this campus as beautiful as it is.
I'd like to thank Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan and John Sexton for dreaming to found this institution.
It's really great to be graduating in 2018, the year of Zayed, because this whole experience would not have been possible without his vision and the strong foundations he laid for this country.
Congratulations, class of 2018.
Congratulations.
Congratulations!
We made it.
Miss Deal Alieta.
Herzlichen Glückwunsch.
Mabruk.
Parabéns para a turma de 2018. Pedra, fighting!
Congratulations to the class of 2018. We made it, and I'm so excited to see where we all end up.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Abda Kazemi, member of the class of 2018.
One day in my first year, I was struggling with university work, and I started to ask myself existential life questions. Because regardless of how much work I was doing, I did not feel satisfied. There was no sense of fulfillment. Why? I was overworking. I would smile, but I did not open myself up to people or play. I thought something must be wrong with me.
How can I have so much and yet feel so broken? Then I happened to stumble upon a piece of sociology research by Dr. Brené Brown, who said that one of the biggest misconceptions in this world is that vulnerability is weakness. Then I reflected upon my own life at university and realized that I had the same perception. I viewed vulnerability as weakness, as a one-sided equation which was going to lead to disaster. It leaves you open to manipulation, being taken advantage of, and attack. Little did I realize that vulnerability is also the source of courage, closeness to people, and happiness. But Dr. Brown says there is a caveat. It is to make sure that you are vulnerable to those who deserve to see that side of you. NYU Abu Dhabi and my classmates have taught me that everyone deserves to see that side of you, until proven otherwise. Thank you, Intro to Political Thinking. I did learn something from game theory. Another thing I was battling with was, what does it mean to have a global perspective? It is to decolonize our minds, which is ironic coming from someone who is British. I grew up in England, and never did I question or critically think about the sources of my texts or the cultural frameworks that I was being taught. At NYU Abu Dhabi, I learned that intellectual scholarship is rooted and extends far beyond the Western world. It is not that I was oblivious to this fact, but bringing it to the forefront of my attention made me realize that we, as scholars and citizens, should question what we are being taught and let others question what we say. In essence, I have learned to trust my own voice and to speak up. When I came to Abu Dhabi for the first time in candidate weekend, the thing that enticed me was this idea of changing the world. Our class, 263 of us, resilient and ready. We're here with the vision to make the world a better place. And I was like, wow, this is crazy, but I want to be a part of it. I have always wanted that, but everyone at home thinks I'm out of my mind. There are a lot of people who have told me and tell me till this day, Abda, you are so naive and idealistic. And one time, I thought maybe I was. Then I went down this cynical spiral where I thought there was no good in the world and everyone always wanted something in return. I even asked Professor Carell, what was the point of me helping people if it is not altruistic? At this time, I was learning from economics that everything is a mutual exchange. When you help people, you feel good about yourself. Therefore, you're not really being altruistic. His response was simple. Why does it have to be altruistic? Helping someone else can be a platform for them to help themselves. Imagine Mother Teresa, Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, and His Highness Sheikh Zayed. Do you really think they did their work primarily out of self-interest? There are several memories from NYU Abu Dhabi that I am sure each one of us will cherish dearly. From the time your friends would surprise you on your birthday at exactly 12 a.m., to smuggling a cat to your dorm, #streetcat. the picnics on the High Line, or simply the sit-down meal with friends in the infamous dining hall. It is these moments and conversations that have shaped the community that we have built. You see, the thing I love about this institution, from the time His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan and John Sexton envisioned it, is that we never compromise quality, excellence, and public service. Our generous hosts, Abu Dhabi, and their excellencies have provided us with the best tools we need to go out into this world to make a contribution in our fields, both in academia and work. They had a vision and chose to pursue it because they believed in it. Are they naive or idealistic now that we live and breathe their vision? So for this year, the year of Zayed, which to me means the year of extraordinary leadership, let's take a moment to show gratitude to those who founded this university. Speaking of dreams and visions, I was born in Afghanistan, but have grown up in London for most of my life. My family sought refuge in a situation of crisis which is easy to forget is still going on till this day. And although I do not want to exoticize this home that I have barely spent any time in, and although I believe that nationalism is a social construct, the helping hand that the UK provided my family changed my life. Now I ask myself, how can I work and give back to my host country? But also, how can I better the situation in Afghanistan, where I would have been had somebody not opened up their borders? These hopes do not have to be mutually exclusive. Class of 2018, this interdisciplinary and global education has given us the capacity to do both if we want to. You know, it was really easy to lose yourself here in the midst of the NYU Abu Dhabi magic. But it is also the exact same place which helped me to find the values that I stand for today. Right here, I was able to be vulnerable without feeling helpless, but rather hopeful. I can now confidently leave and dare to say that I still wish to change the world. But that cliche phrase just means, as a collective, we can each make a positive contribution, leaving the world a better place than when we encountered it. Whether that be a small gesture of thanks to a friend, a member of faculty, staff, or making global public policy, each one of us can do one kind thing a day that will bring light into someone else's life. One day, I just asked myself, if I don't pursue my goals and dreams, who will? Now I want you to ask yourself, if you don't pursue your goals and dreams, then who will? NYU Abu Dhabi, class of 2018, be dreamers. Congratulations and thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Vice Chancellor of New York University, Abu Dhabi, Alfred Bloom.
Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, members of the NYUAD and NYU communities, distinguished guests, families of our graduates, and most importantly, Graduates of the class of 2018, welcome to the 5th commencement of this remarkable institution, and Ramadan Kareem. We celebrate this evening, the 100th anniversary year of Sheikh Zayed's birth, who founded the UAE and set transformative education as an enduring value of this nation. We celebrate His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi and Deputy Supreme Commander of the UAE's Armed Forces, and the leadership of New York University, who in partnership created this institution just 1 decade ago. We celebrate our government partners, our faculty, staff, students, and community colleagues who helped build NYU Abu Dhabi into the institution it has become. We celebrate you, the graduates of the class of 2018, who make this day possible and who today join our current alumni as the perpetuators and ambassadors of this university. And we celebrate NYUAD itself, which, with unprecedented speed, has become nationally and internationally recognized for both its distinctive educational quality and its distinctive capacity to prepare students to lead in a global world. That distinctive educational quality, as others have mentioned, is evident to the students, faculty, and staff that NYUAD recruits from across the Emirates and around the world, and in the record selectivity and yield of that process. It is evident in the warmth and esteem it enjoys from the UAE community, in the evaluations its programs receive from the UAE and abroad, in the global recognition of its research and scholarship, in the internships, postgraduate placements, and prestigious international awards its students earn. And it is evident in the impact our graduates have already had and that you who are graduating today will have on an appreciative and admiring world. Furthermore, that quality has allowed NYUAD, without risk to its educational excellence, but rather as a distinctive enrichment to that excellence, to shape a model of undergraduate education that not only delivers a superb foundation for careers and for life, but that equips graduates to be agents of human connection in a divided world. The world generally looks to higher education to transmit a body of culture from one generation to the next, to prepare the next generation for the jobs and professions of the future, and for satisfying and productive lives. And in these times, to develop the innovative talent and spirit that generate technological advance. But today, we must expect even more from higher education if we are to address the critical challenges that confront us. If we are serious about eliminating poverty, improving global health, alleviating pressures from mass migration, about assuring adequate supplies of energy, food, and water, preserving our environment, and even protecting our own existence against ever more powerful machines of war, we must harness the power of education to open the minds of students at a formative time in their lives to their own ability and their own responsibility to create a more cooperative globe. Education, and especially higher education, is arguably the institution with the greatest potential to build the cooperative mindset that will accomplish this task. Over the past century, or past half century more precisely, higher education success at motivating and building new mindsets around gender equity, around minority rights and inclusion, around environmental stewardship, has demonstrated its power to restructure the world's consciousness and broaden its responsibility for all of humanity. Today, alongside all else that it does, higher education can and must empower the conviction and thereby create the means to make the world a more cooperative place. While it is unrealistic to assume that it is feasible or advisable to approach every interpersonal, intergroup, or international conflict with a cooperative stance. It is not unrealistic to create through education a world that believes in the human capacity for cooperation and that strives for and seizes on opportunities for cooperation when they arise. We take this imperative very seriously at NYUAD. NYU's global network, the leap of international and intercultural trust at the core of NYUAD's own founding, and its welcome to constituencies and ideas from around the world, provided the infrastructure for this institution to include as central to its educational mission, cultivating the motivation, the perspective, the confidence, and the skills necessary to cross economic, cultural, and ideological divides with understanding and care. NYUAD shaped a learning environment where no one culture is dominant and where the expectation is not to assimilate to any single tradition, but rather to examine one's own beliefs and values in the light of those of others from across the world. An environment which prepares students and all of us to engage with humility the differences among us. The university has established a powerful context for deconstructing stereotypes, for subtle understanding of the values, beliefs, and experiences of others, and for recognizing beyond those differences how much as human beings we share in our conceptual, linguistic, and emotional lives, in our needs for security, affiliation, and admiration, in our enjoyment of beauty and humor, and in our longings for opportunity, meaning, and peace. A perspective that, by foregrounding human commonality, replaces an assumption of the impossibility of human connection with experiences of shared understanding, trust, and purpose. Opportunities for study, research, and internships around the globe add lived experience in worlds different from our own. Engagement with varied political, economic, intellectual, and cultural environments prompts more complex and sensitive reflection on which rights can or should be deemed universal, and on why different traditions and historic circumstances lead to prioritizing particular rights and benefits differently. And a rigorous and multidisciplinary academic program offers sharper and more comprehensive strategies for exploring how common goals, once established, can be best achieved. NYUAD, I believe, presents a model of how education can nurture leaders determined and prepared as cooperation becomes feasible to build bridges of collective understanding and collaborative progress across the barriers that divide us. A little over 2 weeks ago on this campus, His Highness Sheikh Nahyan bin Mubarak Al Nahyan, Minister of Higher Education for the UAE over its founding decades, and currently Minister of Tolerance, spoke to the critical need for higher education to move beyond imparting knowledge and skills to cultivating social responsibility, and to move beyond holding to traditional notions of tolerance towards fostering a global, informed, and personally responsive mindset. And I quote, "In our country, it is understood tolerance is not simply enduring the existence of opinions, ideas, behaviors, or practices that do not concur with your own. It is about recognizing, respecting, and embracing diversity. It is about being secure in your own culture and beliefs so that you respond to what is different with curiosity and compassion, rather than with fear and intolerance. We need to be genuinely concerned with the welfare of our fellow human beings and take action based on those concerns. Tolerance has become an essential component of good global citizenship. I believe it is central to the future success of individuals, of the UAE, and of the planet." Class of 2018, As you go forward from this celebration, I ask you, first, to champion however you can your alma mater's continuing resolve and ability to bring education of the finest quality to this nation and the world. Second, to champion however you can NYUAD's continuing commitment to cultivate discerning, prepared, and optimistic agents of a cooperative world. And third, to work however you can to extend NYUAD's distinctive model of education more broadly to higher education and to that world. I thank you each for the energy, care, and companionship you will bring to this effort, and I invite you to return as often as you can to report to this campus to report on your progress. You will always be warmly welcomed and deeply admired here. Boundless congratulations to each of you. Thank you. It is now my great pleasure to welcome a leader of this nation, whom we, this nation, and the world deeply admire for his knowledge, experience, wisdom, humanity, and national and international accomplishment. His Excellency, Dr. Anwar Mohammed Gargash. Member of the UAE Cabinet and Minister of State for Foreign Affairs. Dr. Gargash received his BA and his MA in political science at George Washington University in Washington, D.C., and his doctorate at King's College, Cambridge. From 2006 to 2009, he served as the UAE Minister of State for Federal National Council Affairs. He chaired the National Elections Committee, overseeing the UAE's first elections in 2006 and subsequent elections in 2011 and 2015. He chaired as well the National Committee to Combat Human Trafficking and the board of the Al Owais Cultural Foundation. Dr. Gargash is currently on the board of the Emirates Diplomatic Academy, leads the UA team for the Human Rights Periodic Review, and over the past decade, as Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, has advanced the profile of the UAE on the international stage, offering a global model of enlightened leadership. With profound appreciation and respect, I invite His Excellency Dr. Anwar Gargash to the podium. Please join me in welcoming him to NYUAD.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Chairman Berkeley, President Hamilton, Vice Chancellor Bloom, Excellencies, parents, siblings, and most importantly, class of 2018. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to speak to you on this very special day, your very special day. I'm also honored to be able to welcome Secretary John Kerry, whose work I had the pleasure of observing closely in his time as Secretary of State, and whose relentless drive and commitment have always impressed me deeply. Sir, your devotion to public service and your belief in the power of diplomacy are an inspiration to us all of us. Friends, as I stand before you today in what has rapidly become a truly world-class seat of learning, it reminds me of what an extraordinary journey we have been on. When I graduated from high school in 1977, UAE University, our country's first university, had only just been established. I was one of 30 individuals in my class who got the opportunity to go and study in an American university. Back then, we knew that an American education, with its mix of academic excellence and extracurricular activities, would give us the best possible preparation for our lives and careers. However, I could never have imagined that one day I would, once again, be standing in the campus of one of the leading American universities, and this time it would be in Abu Dhabi, and that many of you would have traveled from around the world to come and study here. So in this year, when we are celebrating the centenary of Sheikh Zayed, the founder of the UAE, New York University Abu Dhabi serves as a powerful illustration of how far and how fast we have traveled as a country. But we must not let this success make us complacent, for it has not happened by chance, but thanks to the incredible contribution from generations of both Emiratis and foreign residents, and at all levels of our society. So class of 2018, as we gather to celebrate your achievements, I wait with anticipation to see what more you will do to contribute to our ongoing success. And it doesn't matter whether you are a citizen of this great country or from somewhere else. You are now part of our journey, and we want you to be part of our future too. For many of the challenges we face are not unique to the UAE, but shared by all humanity, whether that be harnessing the power of new technologies, tackling climate change, or reducing extremism, conflict, and poverty. These are challenges we will all need to work on together. And the truth is that I cannot think of a better placed group of people to take on this task. That is not just because I know you are brilliant scholars, which you have had to graduate from this highly selective university. Nor is it just because I know you have been taught by excellent professors and exposed to some of the most interesting speakers from around the world. No. The thing that gives me most confidence is knowing that you will have absorbed some of the lessons about how this country, and indeed this university, got to where they are today. The first of these is to understand the value of hard work. Both the UAE and New York University Abu Dhabi have been fortunate to have visionary leadership, but that would not have counted for much if people were not willing to put in the long hours required to turn these visions into reality. So always remember that what distinguishes true leaders from others is not simply that they have big ideas, but that they have the resilience and determination to see them through. The second lesson is that it is important to be team players, to understand that everyone has something to contribute and want to be part of something bigger than yourselves. Both this university and the UAE are testimony to how much more can be achieved when people come together to work towards a common vision. In my professional experience, I have consistently found that initiatives are made more successful through harnessing multiple contributions toward a common cause. So remember, you will not achieve as much working alone as you will by collaborating with others and being open to their ideas. The third lesson is that we should be committed to continuous learning and innovation. Learning and innovation go hand in hand. We learn when we are willing to try new things, to disrupt our status quo, and believe that both we and the world around us can be better. This entrepreneurial spirit is what we see every day in the UAE. Indeed, NYU was prepared to be a pioneer in opening a campus here and challenged itself to learn new ways of doing things. So remember, you are not the finished product, and nor is the world around you. So don't be afraid of change, embrace it. Don't accept the status quo, act to transform it. And know that skills you will need in 20 years' time will be different from the ones you have today. Therefore, make sure keep learning new things. After all, it's part of what keeps life interesting. And finally, please continue to show integrity. Honesty, compassion, and respect for others are consistently on display on this campus and have always been at the core of the UAE's values. People sometimes ask me how the UAE has changed in my lifetime. The truth is that when I reflect on the incredible developments in this country, what is remarkable is that while the external appearance of the UAE has obviously transformed over recent decades, I can honestly say that our underlying values have stayed the same. So whatever exciting adventures your lives take you on, you should always remember to be sincere, to demonstrate compassion for others, and to show your family and friends how much they mean to you. For these are the things that will consistently be meaningful to you throughout your lives. Let me finish my remarks by congratulating you. The truth is that just by attending New York University Abu Dhabi, you've already started changing the world. You had the courage to try something new, to open your minds to people from different countries, and to work hard as a team to achieve great things. So I encourage you to keep doing what you are doing and carry the values and spirit of the UAE with you wherever you go and whatever you do. For you are part of the UAE story now. And as you head off to write the next chapters in your own remarkable stories, I promise that our whole nation will be watching and encouraging you every step of the way. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Your Excellency, Dr. Anwar bin Mohammed Gargash, Cabinet Member and Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, in appreciation for your truly inspiring and memorable words, and in recognition of your extraordinary contributions to this nation and to a more responsible world, on behalf of NYU Abu Dhabi and New York University, it is our great privilege to confer upon you the NYU Abu Dhabi Global Leadership Award. It is our ardent hope that this award will bring you even closer to the NYU Abu Dhabi community, and warmest congratulations. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of New York University, Andrew Hamilton.
Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, Vice-Chancellor Bloom, colleagues, family, friends, and most importantly, the outstanding NYU Abu Dhabi class of 2018. Congratulations. I am thrilled to be here with all of you this evening to bring you greetings from the wider NYU University. Ramadan Kareem. I also want to bring greetings from a very special person who's been mentioned a couple of times this evening, my predecessor, John Sexton. As we heard from Abda, John Sexton and his partner, His Royal Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, were the two truly visionary creators of this magnificent campus, this great university that we celebrate in this evening. John is very disappointed that he cannot be here with you all graduating students. I saw him 2 days ago, and he wanted me to wish you all the very best of regards, all his very heartiest congratulations for your successes. Now, we are nearing the end of what I like to think of as NYU's annual season of celebration. We've completed separate graduation ceremonies in each of NYU's 18 schools and colleges located in New York, and then, of course, the university-wide commencement, which took place in Yankee Stadium last Wednesday in torrential rain. I can't tell you how delighted we are to be in Abu Dhabi, the glorious sunshine, the glorious blue sky. And then we are on tomorrow to NYU Shanghai for the final celebration of the year. It won't come as a surprise to you that this season of celebration is usually followed by a short, but a season of collapse, at least on my part. Now, in my remarks at Yankee Stadium, I spoke about the value of higher education. We heard some very wise words on that topic from Vice Chancellor Bloom this evening. This is at a time when divisions between people are getting wider, when public discourse is becoming less civil, when disturbing trends of anti-intellectualism, indeed anti-factualism, are gaining strength. Universities are more important than ever. Indeed, they are essential. Why do I say this? Because universities conduct research that leads to new understandings and discoveries. They illuminate the human experience through art and literature. They nurture nuanced thinkers, well-rounded leaders, and skilled, principled professionals. They open us up to new perspectives and new cultures. They help keep the world on a path, no matter how winding or rocky, towards progress. Every day, members of the NYU Abu Dhabi community demonstrate that transformative power of universities. Just consider what a few of the students and faculty members in this room have accomplished during the past year. One team of students developed a prize-winning device that can detect the bacterium E. coli quickly and affordably. Another student came to NYU Abu Dhabi with limited international experience, but next year will be teaching in Malaysia under a Fulbright scholarship in preparation for a career in international policy. One of you, graduates, created the Girls' Education Network. Indeed. A wonderful leadership program for girls in Abu Dhabi. And that person was also the recipient of the first Dalai Lama Peace Fellowship awarded in the Middle East. And members of NYU Abu Dhabi's faculty are conducting research that includes recording oral poetry from Central Arabia, promoting economic development in rural Ghana, studying the effect of climate change on the coral reef off the coast of Abu Dhabi, and many, many more path-breaking studies. So when I look at the NYU Abu Dhabi community, despite the tumult in the world, I feel hopeful. You are proof that a group of people from over 110 different countries can come together with shared purpose and make a positive, enduring impact on the world. And yeah, thank you. And what a statement of hope that our government partners in Abu Dhabi chose to establish this path-breaking institution despite the complexity of this region and the even greater complexity of the time we are living through. To the families and the loved ones here today from all over the world, thank you for entrusting NYU with your wonderful sons and daughters. It was our privilege to have them as part of the NYU family. And to the class of 2018, you are a group of extraordinary people who've received an extraordinary education. Wherever on the globe life takes you, know that all of us at NYU are proud of you, immensely proud of you. My very, very best wishes to you all, and congratulations, class of 2018. It is now my very great honor to introduce our keynote speaker. He served as the 68th Secretary of State of the United States, where he provided global stewardship on issues ranging from advancing nuclear proliferation to removing nuclear proliferation, excuse me, advancing nuclear non-proliferation. I fear it is others who are doing the opposite, but he was also a key architect of the enormously important Paris Climate Accord, signing the historic agreement in 2016 to reduce carbon emissions. Prior to his tenure as Secretary of State, he served for more than a quarter century as a US Senator, eventually becoming chair of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee and running as his party's nominee for president in 2004. An alumnus of Yale University, he volunteered for service in the US Navy shortly before graduation and is a decorated veteran of the Vietnam War and an advocate for fellow military veterans. Currently, he is a distinguished fellow for global affairs at Yale and visiting distinguished statesman at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. His 4-decade career has been distinguished by integrity, courage, and a singular focus on fostering peace. Today, we are proud to welcome him to NYU Abu Dhabi. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Honorable John Kerry.
You didn't know I could do that, did you? President Hamilton, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, distinguished members of the Board of Trustees, distinguished faculty, friends and family, all important friends and family who've helped many of the graduates, or all of them, to get to this remarkable moment. Most importantly, as everybody has said, the obviously very energized, somewhat anticipatory, I know extraordinary class of 2018. I'm very honored to be here with you. I'm genuinely excited and honored to be here. Though I have to tell you the truth, in keeping with the introduction from President Hamilton, that having spent a quarter century in the United States Senate, given what's going on today, I'm actually delighted to be invited anywhere, folks. I want to thank you for the extraordinary power that you've given me. I had a lot of power as Secretary of State. But right now, I have more power than I've ever had in my life because I am all that stands between you and these degrees. So I will respect that. I promise you. I will not give a Senate speech. 4 hours, 3, 2, whatever. But it's really a special moment for me to join in this. It's also very special to be able to have an hour or two pass by without talking about Harry and Meghan. I can feel the energy and the enthusiasm here. I must add, I can almost feel my hair kind of turning brown again, folks. It's good. Keep it up. Without any inadequacy, I hope, I want to pay tribute to Dr. Gargash. It's a privilege for me to be here. I was so delighted to see my really good friend, Abdullah bin Zayed, Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed, who was foreign minister. And as Dr. Gargash knows, we worked many, many hours together. But in honoring Dr. Gargash tonight, you really have picked an extraordinary public servant. I'm not blowing smoke. I'm not kidding you when I say that in many, many meetings, particularly in the Middle East when we were struggling with Syria or Egypt in transition or Libya or Yemen, Iraq, ISIL, Daesh, this man continually worked the many long hours, worked with us to help create a partnership, a coalition that ultimately defeated Daesh and helped to set a standard for where we have to move to have mutual security and strength in this region. So I want to pay my own tribute to Anwar, my friend, but also more broadly to the quality of leadership that is provided here in the Emirates by the bin Zayed family. I've been privileged to know them well. They have a vision, and that vision is evident not just in this university, but it's evident in all of the institutions that are being built here and the vision they have for sustainable economy and for a sustainable future. And the example that that sets for a small nation is so much larger than its population or its geography. And personally, as the 68th Secretary of State of the United States, which needs to build partnerships and cannot turn its back on the world, I want to thank Dr. Gargash, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, Sheikh Tanoon bin Zayed, Sheikh Abdullah, and I think you all should join in saying thank you to them too, because their leadership is important to all of us. I have heard a lot about this university. The reputation already spreads way beyond the number of years it's been here. And you all should be remarkably proud, the faculty, the Board of Trustees, all of your leaders, because you've really created a stunning product, a stunning institution that has an ability to produce the leaders of the future. And I can't think of a time in the world's history when leadership has been more wanting or more needed. And I hope all of you are thinking hard about that too, because I know you feel it. And I know many of you here are going to set out on a journey that will help correct the excesses and the negligences of the past years. I want to thank all those who've been involved in the creation of what is here today. When I say what is here today, I mean 10 Rhodes Scholarships in a few years, 5 Fulbrights, 3 Schwarzmans, I mean a number of accomplishments, not to mention the individual scholarship of each and every one of you. One person is missing from this celebration. She was someone that the NYU community lost last year. Hillary Ballin. I knew Hillary and her husband Orrin for many years, and I know how committed she was to education. And when she was asked to help create this university, she embraced the challenge with all of her considerable energy and all of her creativity. And she played a key role in everything from developing the curriculum to finding the right piece of land for the campus. I know she would be enormously proud of each and every one of you here. You are her legacy, and what a tremendous legacy you represent. As was mentioned earlier, this is the 100th, the centennial, the 100th anniversary or would have been the 100th anniversary of Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, the founder, the founding father. And he once remarked as follows. He said, pretty visionary, future generations will be living in a world that is very different from that to which we are accustomed. It is essential that we prepare ourselves and our children for that new world. Well, my friends, that is the vision that brings us here today. It's exactly what we're celebrating here. You are prepared, which is exactly what his vision embraced. And I hope you know how much some of us know we need you, and how much, in fact, we are counting on you. Now, believe me, the skill set and the understanding that you have gained here is going to be put to the test, because challenges are coming at us as fast as the changes. For at least 20 years, a wave of unprecedented technologies and technological transformation has been coming at us, all of us, altering every aspect of life around the planet. Healthcare, communications, energy, warfare, manufacturing, entertainment, travel, transportation, education, construction. Nothing has been left untouched. And it is a process still unfolding without any of us completely capable, even the best statisticians, of understanding what all the social impacts and downstream effects are going to be. Everywhere in the world, I will tell you, ideas are moving faster than ever before. Goods and products are moving faster than before. People are moving faster than before. The marketplace, on a daily basis, is moving faster than before, all interconnected. The only thing that isn't coming faster, producing faster, is one of the things that's more important than other. It's governance. Governance worldwide is finding it difficult to move fast enough to react to this transformation. But it shouldn't just be reacting, it ought to be leading. It ought to be expressing the vision and seizing on everything that we've experienced over the course of the last century and these 18 years in the dawn of the 21st. Experts project that in the next dozen years, almost 15% of the global workforce will be affected by the changes of technology. Just before I left being secretary, I held an event in Cambridge at MIT with Harvard and MIT and others involved, in which we were talking about this impact on the workplace and what we can anticipate and what leadership needs to do to get ahead of it. And the fact is that I've seen studies that predict that a turnover, at least in the United States workforce, the strongest economy in the world today, of anywhere from 7% to 47%. Now, we've handled 6% before. The end of the 19th century, the beginning of the 20th century, 50% of Americans were working in agriculture. You know what it is today? About 1%, 1.5%. But we have 3.9% unemployment, so obviously people are working somewhere. But it's elsewhere. It's in a different discipline. It's in a different something that we've chosen to value. And now the question is, what are you going to help us to value in the future? Because we need to begin to value different things and with greater fairness to more people on this planet. The problem we all face is that very few countries are moving fast enough to prepare for the future. And as a secretary who traveled more than 1.5 million miles to more than 90 countries, I saw firsthand a growing anger that is coming out of the feeling of alienation, disenfranchisement felt by too many people in too many parts of the world. Increasingly, citizens of the world feel uneasy about the pace of change, alarmed by levels of corruption, and angry that they personally are not sharing enough in the benefits of globalization. In too many places, not here, I am happy to say, but in too many places, governments have sidelined or ignored their own citizens at their peril. And while the world as a whole is more prosperous than it has ever been, inequality has also grown in most countries, fueling instability. Let me just talk about my own. In the United States of America today, 52% of the income earned by our nation goes to 1% of the people. I've said it over there at home, and I'll say it here because I've said it at home. That is not sustainable. The fact is that we see in various countries people breaking constitutions, deciding to stay a third, a fourth term, people who have disrespect for the foundation of sovereignty of their nation itself, who are contributing to a greater number of failed or failing states. And then, of course, there is a decidedly different challenge, but it is no less existential. It's been mentioned tonight several times. It is the challenge of climate change, already impacting lives all across the globe. Wars being fought over conflict, being fought over water, fires burning out of control, intensity we've never seen. 2 storms in the United States, each of which contributed to $150 billion worth of damage. On record. A 20,000, once in 20,000 year storm in Texas. The first ever recorded hurricane with 24 hours of sustained winds over 185 miles an hour. So the reaction of some people, my friends, is to play to the lowest common denominator of common politics. Close the doors, pull back from the world, or pretend that we could solve problems by ourselves, for ourselves, too. I want to make it clear, we won't win, any of us, ultimately, by retreating within our borders, by focusing on our own nations only, and going it alone. Our societies and our economies and the world will simply not allow that because we are too interconnected for the possibilities of that approach. There are 2 billion young people around the globe today, 15 years to 24 years old. In too many places, those become the mischief years. They all need jobs. They all need opportunity. That's what began what happened in Tunisia. That's what began what happened in Tahrir Square. That's what began in Syria. Young people looking for jobs and respect and a future. There are 1.8 billion young people who are 15 years old or younger. And they need education and opportunity. And today, 250 million of them will not go to school. Now, that's not someone else's problem. That's not something that you have the privilege of simply walling yourself off and saying, well, it's over there, it's too bad. In today's world, where a whole bunch of these people all have a smartphone, they know exactly what everybody else in the world has, but that also means they know what they don't have. So, in a world that belongs to all of us, in this networked world, where power is distributed differently, it used to be more hierarchical. Now it's much more networked. You have to think about that. And you have to think about it because we're living in a time where a lie, or the truth, hopefully, can move around the planet in seconds. No one has the luxury of pretending that you can just wall yourself off. And it isn't only the economic implication that has to concern us. When people, particularly young people, have no sense of hope and no faith in legitimate authority, when there are no prospects for employment or outlets for people to express their concerns, when frustration turns into desperation, we all have a problem. No one knows that better than violent extremist groups which regularly use indignity and marginalization and inequality and corruption as recruitment tools. To borrow from Martin Luther King Jr., instability anywhere is a threat to stability everywhere. So we can't solve this by focusing only on our individual countries, nor is the solution to dig a hole and hide in our respective ideologies. True civil discourse is also under threat all around the planet, eroding rights alongside trust. And certainly in my country, our politics has become almost all accusatory and all bombastic. We leap to a conclusion. I'm wrong. You're right. I'm right. You're wrong. Back and forth, without any intervening exchange. And in the end, my friends, we're left asking, how in a civil society can you make important decisions that build a consensus of support if you can't even agree on what the facts are? So the way we win the future is by recognizing the importance of truth, the importance of integrity, as you heard earlier and a moment ago, the importance of being able to win by restoring a baseline of facts to global decision-making. The way we win is by reinforcing the principles of shared responsibility and prosperity that have guided us for decades. That's what we did from the end of World War II until a few years ago. We lived by an institutional structure that brought nations together, understanding we're all in this together. So graduates, here's my message. No matter how big or how many the challenges, I want you to leave here today confident about our ability to win that future. I have no doubt we can solve the problems that we face. Why do I have no doubt? Why am I so confident? And believe me, I am. President Obama here, he'd tell you the one thing he says, John, I don't know how you're always so confident. Well, I am. Because every single problem we face is created by human choices. And to the best of my knowledge, those problems can also be solved by human choices. Everyone needs to understand the awesome power that each of you really has at your disposal as you graduate. The power to choose. Even hatred is a choice. I think we can all agree that there's too much hatred in the world. But where does it all come from? In all my life, I have never met a child, 2.5 years old, 3 years old, who hates anybody. They might hate something mom or dad gives them to eat, but they don't hate people. They don't have ideas about one person being good and one person being bad. Hate is taught. Bigotry, prejudice, religious intolerance, discrimination, limited imagination, all of which drag us down. They're all taught. All of them are choices that people make. Not dealing with climate change, not investing enough in healthcare, not investing in education, not building first-rate infrastructure. All choices. So, my friends, meeting this moment of history will require an unprecedented level of activism, of engagement, of caring, of understanding your power, and of acting on that power. It will require men and women like you to make choices that will create the future that your children and grandchildren deserve. Now, there are infinite ways to do this. Why not make a choice to create a truly forward-leaning global development program where China and the United States and other nations join together to help build out the healthcare capacity of Africa or South Central Asia or East Asia? Why not? I've talked to the Chinese about it. They say they're willing to do it. We should be. Why don't we bring off of the sidelines some of the $12 to $13 trillion that is sitting there in net negative interest rate status in banks, in pensions, around the world, because people are unwilling to invest because they see too much risk and they don't see anybody undoing that risk. Why not make the choice to accelerate medical research and development and prioritize building better healthcare capacity for more people in more places where they don't have it, so you can help stop the Ebolas in their tracks, end the scourge of AIDS. Make the choice to stop wasting billions of hours in traffic jams all around this planet, crippling productivity, filling the atmosphere with hours of emissions from cars sitting in a barely moving parking lot. Make the choice to turn today's climate crisis into tomorrow's clean energy revolution and put millions of people to work in the doing of it. Last year in the United States, 3/4 of the new electricity that we brought online was solar power. You know what coal was? 0.2%. So it can happen. If we're going to stave off the worst impacts of climate change, my friends, we have to move faster to a low-carbon economy. When we did the agreement in Paris, I said at the end of our reaching the agreement, we have to all leave here understanding that our goal is to reach 2 degrees centigrade, but we have not set in place a regimen that is going to guarantee we get there. So as you sit here tonight, I got news for you. We are currently on track with the growth of coal-fired plants in various parts of the world. We are on track to hit 4 degrees centigrade in this century. That is unsustainable. So there's no reason that any government or financial institution should break ground on a new coal-fired plant, but some of them still are. It's a choice. So as you think about these choices, I'm going to close by summarizing to you why, again, I'm so confident. Amidst all the bad news you hear on TV and some of the doomsday and some of the, these are tough problems, but I got news for you. They all have clearly defined solutions that we have at our fingertips today. The question is not whether or not we can move to a low-carbon society, it's whether or not we will choose to do it. We're actually doing amazing things. You should believe in the future. I do. I have grandkids, kids, obviously, if I have grandkids, unless I did it some other way. But the fact is, you can't lose sight of what we are accomplishing as human beings on this planet. I know it doesn't sound that way because of particularly cable television and communications, but we've already made remarkable progress. We continue to do so every single day. Think about it. We're curing diseases that we never thought we'd be able to cure. Measles, tuberculosis, malaria, smallpox, many more. You now have individualized cancer treatment from the genome capacity, the mapping. It's stunning what we're able to do. We did stop Ebola. I remember sitting in the White House Situation Room and people said that we're going to lose 1 million people in the course of the next few months, 4 months. And we said, wait a minute, no, we didn't know what we didn't know, but we knew we had to act. So we sent healthcare folks to West Africa. We worked with the British and the French, each taking a country. And guess what? 1 million were predicted to die. A tiny fraction of that, in fact, died. And we proved what you can do with a multilateral response. We actually are on the verge of the first generation of children to be born AIDS-free in Africa because we've put $30 billion a year into helping people to deal with antiretroviral drugs. We're seeing mortality rates. If you're a woman pregnant somewhere in the world, for the first time in history, we've seen a reduction by 50% of the mortality rates. And if you're the child being born, you are 50% more likely to be fed and go to school and be able to grow up and have a future. We're bringing millions of people out of poverty. 450 million people out of poverty in China. 400 and some million in India. That's happening around the world. When I was in college, your age, poverty rate, the severe poverty rate of the world was 50%. Today, for the first time in our history, it is below 10%. So even while the gender gap remains and it has to be closed, and while gender pay gap is a real concern, there are more women in the paid workforce today than at any point in history. And I have said before many times, just like no soccer team or football team or whatever can ever really be a championship team if you leave half of your players on the bench, the world will not accomplish what it needs to if we leave half our players on the bench. And that means including women in the future. I know it is hard sometimes in this region because of what's been happening in some neighboring countries to grab onto this fact. But the fact is that despite the conflicts that we all are too aware of in the region, because of the transition to where we are today, violence is no longer as much state on state. I think obviously of Crimea and of Ukraine, but not like the last century. Despite the violence we see in suicide vests or in some of the conflicts that we look at, Syria, et cetera, despite that, far, far, far fewer people are dying violently in the course of the first 18 years of this century than at any time in the course of the last century. So I think you have to focus on the fact that not all of this progress, almost none of it, happened by accident. It's what happens when people have faith in their values, their skills, their education. It's what happens when you respect rights and dignity of other people. It's what happens when you believe in the possibility of a better future, no matter how many setbacks come in the struggle to get there. It's what happens when people make the choice to improve the world. And I know there are many times when it seems impossible, but as Nelson Mandela famously said, it always seems impossible until it's done. Make no mistake, the global community is on an inexorable march towards progress, and that gives me a powerful sense of confidence in what together we can achieve now, in what you, as global citizens coming out of this great university, have an ability to be, of what you can do as graduates of NYU Abu Dhabi, and what you can achieve in the years ahead. And as Abda said earlier, and as Maitha said earlier, they used the concept of taking a risk and of changing the world. That's about as good a summary of the mission ahead as you could say. So congratulations to all of you in the class of 2018. Now get out and get the job done. Thank you.
John Kerry, in appreciation for your truly inspiring and memorable words, and in recognition of your extraordinary public service and contributions to a more inclusive and peaceful world, on behalf of NYU Abu Dhabi and New York University, it is our great privilege to confer upon you the NYU Abu Dhabi Global Leadership Award. It is our ardent hope that this award will bring you even closer to the NYU Abu Dhabi community. Warmest congratulations, John.
Ladies and gentlemen, the deans of each division will now present their candidates for all degrees in course to President Hamilton. All candidates and their guests are requested to remain at their seats until the end of the presentations, which are followed by the official conferring of all degrees by President Hamilton. Robert J.C. Young, Dean of Arts and Humanities.
President Hamilton, Vice-Chancellor Bloom, NYU Abu Dhabi Provost Piano, I'm honored to present to you the candidates for the bachelor's degree in Arts and Humanities. Ashraf Abdul Rahman. Maya Adams. Shama Al-Bastaki. Noor Al-Kubaisi. Yasmin Ibrahim Al-Madwahi. Mohammed Al Mubarak. Reza Al Fahim. Arim Al Nakbi. Noor Afehli. Alana Avalon. Anna Balishiva. Andrea Chung. Adam Ashraf El Sayed. Evgenia Filova. Gabriel Flores. Roland Folkmeyer. Valeria Golvanina. Sofia Antonio Gomez Doyle. Sebastian Grub. Charlotte Gundry. Karma Gurung. Peter Hadwab. Grace Wang. Wesley Wong. Daniel Ilyin. Kamilia Isalieva. Thirangi Jayatiluka. Yuting Jiang. Mateo Hubera Molina. Harshini Karunaratna. Viviana Kawaz. Andrea Claridge. Natalie Kopchevsky. Leonid Kuzmenko. Su An Lau. Melissa Levinson. Yan Lee. Marshal Memon. Alexa Christine Mena Tejada. Alejandro Mora. Finn Murray Jones. Nikolai Nielsen. Rebecca Nivar. Isabella Peralta. Dina Saleh. John Scatcher III. Christina Serrano. Shreya Shriyaman. Kira Simmons. Christina Stankovic. Ariana Stuckey. Henrietta Ward. Mabruk.
Samer Mdanat, Dean of Engineering.
President Hamilton, Vice Chancellor Bloom, NYU Abu Dhabi Provost Piano, I'm honored to present to you the candidates for the bachelor's degree in engineering. Hassan Abdel Khaliq. Aida Haile Michael Abera. Ali Abul Ata. Rami Haytham Abul Hassan. Prasant Adhikari. Noor Al-Amiri. Hamdan Ahmed Al-Hosani. Zoha Alvi. Levan Asatiani. Musa Awad. Billy Tinashe Ben. Justina Boktor. Majid Bughanim. Daniel Beltri Carelli. Munir Khalid Al-Gharabawi. Yara Al-Wazir. Yasmin Farhan. Sofia Fernandez Santoyo. Lucas Fuch Corzo. Simret Sige Genet. Hazem Ibrahim. Rogers Iradukunda. Jovan Jovanchevich. Farzan Ahmed Khan. Enes Kriestorats. Katadaki Aishi Samantha Boe. Kyler Connor Meehan. Johanna Ezekiel Mpuya. Isaiah Mwamba. Kirthana Prakash. Joel Rukazambuga. Siba Siddiq. Sahan Sachinta Tampo. William Young. Christos Zoukos. And we have a PhD graduate with us this year, Yasin Muhammad Yasin. مبروك جميعاً.
David Shikitano, Dean of Science.
President Hamilton, Vice Chancellor Bloom, NYU Provost Piano, I am pleased to present to you the candidates for the bachelor's degree in Science and Mathematics. Jacqueline M. Abalo. Donna Abu Ali. Muaz Ahmad. Hayat Al Hassan. Fatima Khaled Al Khoury. Aisha Sultan Al Manai. Garissa Yosef Al Miheri. Shanzi Altaf. Danya Baby. Anne Louise Bauer. Hamna Bagani. Andrew Anthony Callender. Adrian Chang. Wei Chen. Juhee Choi. Gabor Chapo. Christopher R. Dalterio. William Layton Dawson. Carolus De Gutis. Yerin Doe. Paula Valentina Dosha. Shaima Fadil. Jamal G. Fanning. Krishna Gair. Yumi Kathleen Gambrill. Jigar Govind. Ali Nashirwan Hamed. Hashim Hayat. Annalisa K. Hennig. Brooke Hopkins. Ming Hu. Ilma Yahovich. Robertus Yankauskas. Gloria Jansen. Frederick Brink Jensen. Sheroz Umar Khan. Chan Young Kim. Ji Hyun Kim. Liam I. Kerwin. Miha Klasink. Nathan, keep going. Nathan M. Liu. No, keep going. Sangeeta Madhavan. Pretty sure something was wrong there. Rita Manzoor. Jessica Meehan. Mohammed Shujat Mirza. Ziyi Mo. Megan Moore. Zane Mountcastle. Yasmin Musa. Christian Xavier Munoz. Jehern Nam. Mona Nimi. Umber Nomani. Dima Omari. Mira Shabanovich. Hadi Omar Salah. Harunisa Semesta. Prasant Sharma. Sudiksha Shrestha. Siang Un Si. Andre Florian Stoica. Boyan Krasimov Stoichev. Mark Cernan. Zofia Schweitzer. Rosie Tahan. Rodrigo Torres. Silvio Mariano Drescu. Abimunyu Vusic. Maria Vogel. Nicholas John White. Leonora Vince. Junyi Shao. Soraya Yaya. Yanfei Zhang. And Tariq Zulfikar Pashic. Congratulations to all.
Hervé Grès, Dean of Social Sciences.
President Hamilton, Vice Chancellor Bloom, Provost Piano, I'm honored to present to you the candidates for the bachelor's degree in social science. Zaid Abu Dhabi. Ahmed Al Memari. Rim Al Memari. Farha Mohamed Al Fulati. Tasnim Al Gargawi. Sheikh Mohammed bin Sultan bin Khalifa Al Nahyan. Abdullah Al-Sheikh Khazal. Abdullah Mohammed Abrouche Al-Swadi. Maha Hareb Sultan Al-Suwaidi. Shattah Al-Hashmi. Haroun Al-Hassan. Dana Al-Hossani. Sultan Al-Khaili. Shirina Al-Meherzi. Maitha Al Memari. Mera Ali Al-Shamsi. Mohamed Amer. Arib Arshad. Mega Bansal. Tania Bansal. Irina Bolgari. Aaron Braunsteiner. Vishwanath Chandrasekhar. Rafael Claudius Chialitza. Dmitry Dobrovolsky. Max B. Eckert. Roshenda Justine Ellis. Aziz Erkinjanov. Carlos Alberto Escobar. Yulia Frolova. Shu Hamrey. Tyler Headley. Niem Huan Huyn. Marie-Claude Andrea Ikpo. Violeta Ivanovska. Hien Hu Zhou. Alain Siuns. Safa Fajr Kashaf. Abda Kazemi. Taukir Khan. Dania Mahan Khitan. Ayman Khurham. Mina Kim. Thomas Justin Klein. Steplan Klinar. Roman Kohut. Kipras Kushleika. Adam Zahir Ladhani. Ugen Senzom La Lama. Justin Lee. Rafael Alberto Lino. Olga Magneva. Hadil Fayez Marzouk. Alex Matters. Laina Una Melkerte. Kate Melvin Ray. Asmira Merchant. Norbert Monti. Cynthia Mulindi. Kainat Hamad Shah Mumtaz. Ritu Mukhalidahan. Kelly Murphy. Charlotte Asifa Nanyaro. Amer Nasser. Claire Louise Okach. Angela Maria Orozco. Laura Patik. Mayra Rashid. Patrick James Reed. Simrat Rupra. Maria Lucia Sanchez Gomez. Andrei Georgiev Simeonov. Anastasia Sojszewska. Taiki Joseph Sugita. Hannah Christine Taylor. Davis Quinton Teague. Carissa Teputri. Rustem Tursin. Camila Vieira. Neil Voha. Imelda Wellington. Karolina Wilczynska. Mario Zapata Encinas. Kristaps Zeltins.
Ladies and gentlemen, Provost Fabio Piano.
Almost there. We now proceed to the formal conferral of degrees. And in keeping with the tradition of New York University, we highlight this important moment in our ceremony by the passing of the New York University Abu Dhabi torch. As in New York, the torch is the symbol of learning. The torch will be passed from a member of this year's graduating class to a member of next year's graduating class of 2019. On stage now, holding the university torch, is Kate Melville Ray. As President Hamilton confers the degrees, the torch will be passed from Kate Melville Ray, a member of the graduating class, to Saida Ganiba Ali, a member of the class of 2019. Here we go. May I ask all the candidates for degrees to now rise for the conferring of degrees in course by President Hamilton.
Members of the class of 2018, through your successful efforts, as certified by the recommendations of your deans, you have met the requirements and thus deserve to receive this hallmark of New York University, Abu Dhabi. By virtue of the authority vested in me by the trustees of New York University, I admit you to the degrees for which you have been recommended. Congratulations to class of 2018. Oh, I see.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the cast of the New York University Abu Dhabi Real AD show, who will now perform Learn to Love and Live and We Are Not Strangers.
We ready, guys? All right.
Every step I take moves me farther from the world that I know. Searching for balance, I feel I'm not here on my own. Do I know how to start this chapter? What am I even going after? If the world is different, why should we stay the same? What can we gain if we're not open to change? Open to new minds, new ways, new pace, a new day. We've got to move forward, it's the only way. We take a chance, take a chance, take one step and then another. The world's all ours. We are not strangers, not strangers. We see the same moon, feel the same sun, and when we wake up we'll recognize. Now is when our lives begin. Stop and take it all in. If there are things that you've lost, there's things we can win. Stop and take it all in. How's accepting, understanding, believing in a new day, tolerating, creating, and thinking in a new way. What now to do now? I don't know where I'm going. Be open, I'm hoping together we'll be flowing. Can we try to remind ourselves to be forgiving and all make mistakes in this life I'm living? Now is when our lives begin. Stop and take it all in. If there are things that you've lost, there's things we can win. Stop and take it all in. We're all here once, we're in this together. The world's all ours, take care of each other. Maybe we can learn to love, and maybe we can learn to love, and maybe we can learn to love and live.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the 2018 commencement exercises of New York University Abu Dhabi. Degree candidates and guests are asked to remain at their seats until the procession has left the hall.